When most people hear the phrase Friday Night Lights, they remember the story of an undersized football team from a small town battling the odds to contend for a Texas high school state championship. But for people in Odessa, Texas, the book, Friday Night Lights, was a lot more complicated and controversial than that. While detailing the 1988 season of their Permian Panthers, author Buzz Bissinger also exposed a strain of racism and misplaced academic priorities that embarrassed and angered many in Odessa. 25 years after Friday Night Lights was published, we went back to Odessa. It was worth the trip.
Boom, right there. Boom, attack, attack, attack. Get down here. Right there. Good.
This is football in 2015 at Permian High.
That's the way to work. That's the way to work.
It's a 100-degree August day, and 330 kids are practicing.
You've gotten better over the summer. You're doing a great job.
Permian doesn't cut anyone. If you come to practice and keep the rules, you're a Panther.
Ready.
But only a few get to play under the Friday Night Lights, made famous by author Buzz Bissinger 25 years ago.
Have you seen this?
I have not seen this. Wow.
It still stands up.
Yes, it does.
This is Ratliff Stadium, the Panthers' home field. It has nearly 20,000 seats, an artificial turf field, a multi-level press box, and was built in 1982.
You described it as a shrine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was.
Empty, it's impressive. Full, it's unbelievable. The movie adaptation of Friday Night Lights was filmed in the same stadium. It captured Odessa's obsession with the team and its star players. And in Odessa in 1988, no star was bigger than running back James Boobie Miles.
Here we go again, into the end zone, touchdown, wow!
What did it feel like to be on that field when you were at your height?
It felt like heaven to me. You understand what I'm saying? That's the place I want to be. I don't want to be nowhere else but here.
25 years later, Boobie Miles is in a Texas state prison in Beaumont. He told us he ended up here after he hit a friend with a beer bottle, was charged with assault, and then violated his probation. His life has been filled with mistakes and mishaps, but he still produces a 1,000-watt smile at the memory of those Friday nights.
Miles will have that penetration. He'll have it to the 10. He'll have it to the 5. That's a Mojo touchdown.
Does it feel like it's been 25 years since the book came out?
No, it doesn't. I still feel, other than the extra weight and the bad knees, I still feel a little young. Sometimes I watch football, sometimes I get the feeling like I get back out there, but then as soon as I stand up, you sit down now. You got old now.
How good of a football player was Boobie Miles?
Boobie was 6'1", 215, 220 pounds, ran a 4.5 40. I mean, that's as good as you can get, as big as you can get.
Brian Chavez was Boobie's teammate.
Miles, running room. That's a Mojo touchdown.
He had all the tools and all the ability to be that special player that made it through to college and the pros.
Chavez was one of 6 players featured in the book and movie. A team captain, straight-A student, and tough tight end.
Winchell to throw, has Brian Chavez open, hits him. Chavez at the 20-yard line, brought down, Brian Chavez.
Today, Chavez is an attorney in Odessa. Like most people 25 years out of high school, he's a little bigger and balder and a lot more sentimental.
Friday Night Lights, it's like our yearbook.
We will win state. Can you be perfect?
The book and movie chronicled their senior season and their quest for another state title. The rallying cry was Mojo, conjuring up a kind of football magic.
You know, what was epic was an undersized team from West Texas in the middle of nowhere could win state. I mean, the myth of Mojo was amazing. I mean, they won the state championship in 80, in 84, in 89, and 91. The most competitive landscape of high school football. This is Texas.
Odessa, Texas sits atop a vast oil field called the Permian Basin. The high school is named for it, and it's the city's economic lifeblood. Friday Night Lights made Odessa famous for something besides oil.
Why do you think it captured the imagination of so many people?
The scene was right, the setting was right, the fanaticism was right, the sacrifice was right. But what I didn't really get was how many people simply identified and said, that was my high school.
The only place that didn't like it seemed to be Odessa, Texas.
Well, I think that's actually true.
By and large, Odessa hated what many called that damn book when it came out in 1990. In it, Bissinger recounted a conversation in which an assistant coach called Boobie Miles a big old dumb N-word. And he wrote of a football team flying on charter jets while the English department struggled to buy school supplies. Mike Wallace got a taste of Odessa's reaction in a 60-minute story just after the book was published.
Buzz Bissinger's book set off something of a holy war. The mother of a former Permian player spoke for a lot of folks.
You're real angry about that book,
Yes, I am. And I read it from stem to cover. Buzz was in my home. I served him coffee. I served him cake. And I feel like he definitely betrayed all of us. I'm not saying there's lies in it. There was truth in it. But for every negative point he gave, he could have given a positive point, and he chose not to do that.
Well, you know, that's what everyone says when they don't like what they've read, and I actually don't think that's true. And then I think the book showed a lot of empathy for the kids, a lot of love for these kids. The kids supported the book 100%.
All the players portrayed in there, all 6 of us, will tell you the same thing to a T, that everything in there was accurate. Basically, there was a line drawn in the sand, people that liked the book and agreed the book, which were in the small minority, which is where I was, and then the large minority said it's all lies and we have nothing to do with it, and Buzz is the devil.
The devil returned to Permian with us 25 years later, wondering what kind of reception he'd get.
Here we go.
Current Permian coach Blake Felt
I want y'all to feel at home.
Thank you.
promptly ran over, gave him a warm greeting, and asked if he'd sign his copy of the book.
Well, we were joking before he came out here whether you'd need a bulletproof vest or not, and the coach came over and just about hugged you.
It still hurts.
But not everyone is ready to embrace Buzz Bissinger. Becky Lucas is one of the leaders of the Booster Club.
I read 2 chapters and had to stop.
You had to stop?
Yeah.
Why?
I didn't feel like it represented the town as a whole. I knew it didn't represent me, and it was just too hard to read.
The treatment of Boobie Miles remains the most sensitive nerve. He had emerged as a star for Permian during his junior season, and while he was scoring touchdowns, Boobie could do no wrong in Odessa.
You were God in that town.
It's crazy. I couldn't even walk through the mall. Kids run up, get the autographs. I mean, it put you, you feel like you already in the NFL or you playing college ball already. But you're at a high school level. It's crazy.
Did you ever think beyond high school? Were you thinking?
I was already past high school.
Where were you in your mind?
I was at the NFL already.
And Boobie will tell you, I didn't care. Study? Why would I study? I'm being passed through. I'm playing in Mojo. I'm playing in front of 19,000 people. I'm the cat daddy of Texas. Study? Well, he's right. No one's going to study under those circumstances.
In the book, Bissinger wrote that many assumed Boobie couldn't succeed academically. He's got a man's body, but you're dealing with the mentality of a 12-year-old child, is how one coach put it.
How special were you treated in school, in the classroom?
If we was having a test, I'd be back there and they'll just come back, give me the answers, just bring the test back the next day.
They gave you the answers?
They gave me grades.
Though this isn't in the book, Boobie now says that grades weren't the only thing he was given.
My junior year, first game, I found the white envelope in my locker. And I looked at the envelope, it didn't have no name on it. I opened the envelope, it was money in the envelope.
Money?
Yeah.
What kind of money are we talking about, Boobie?
It'll be, if I had 195 yards, it'll be $195.
The envelope stopped after a scrimmage at the beginning of Boobie's senior season, recreated in the film when he ran what should have been a routine sweep play.
Bailey takes him down.
And I just remember him going around that corner, and he went down, and you heard him yell. And then after the game, and I think there were even murmurs during the game that he was done.
One play, a torn ligament in his knee, And Boobie Miles says he was no longer the toast of Odessa.
How did they treat you after you were injured, after you could no longer contribute to the team?
With nobody. I didn't even exist no more.
No more answers.
No more grades, no more none of that. So now I'm lost.
We got him short. That's the ball game.
The Permian Panthers went on without Boobie, and their 1988 season ended just one play short of making the state championship game.
I don't remember the exact plays as much anymore, but I still have that hurt inside that we didn't win.
You do?
I still do.
25
years later. It's still something that, tugs at my heart.
Boobie Miles spent that season on the sidelines. In the book, Buzz Bissinger wrote something that made a lot of people in Odessa angry, that some fans had compared Boobie to a horse that should be shot after pulling up lame.
He was treated as a football animal. I hate saying that.
What do you mean a football animal?
His only worth, and they said this over and over again, they felt his only worth was as a football player. He had no worth as a human being. None. None.
Is he the poster boy of the disposable athlete?
I don't like to say that, but I think he is. There are kids all over this country like Boobie. They may not be in prison, but they go up, they go to a certain point, kicked out. Someone's better, they go up to a certain point, they're injured, kicked out. And if anyone thinks that we treat the best athletes any differently, they're out of their minds.
This is 1,000 other Boobie Miles out there. I don't blame nobody but myself. But
what do you want people to know about your story?
what I want kids out there to understand is, without no education, you ain't got nothing. You can have all the talent in the world. You can be Michael Jordan. You can be Kobe Bryant.
You can be Boobie Miles.
You can be Boobie Miles. But you get hurt, what you gonna do? What you gonna have to fall back on?
Boobie fell back on Buzz Bissinger, who says over the years he gave him about $100,000 to try and get him back on his feet. But he isn't the only one who didn't have a plan beyond football.
They didn't think beyond high school. It was like, that's it. We don't really care if you go to college. Back then, I think it's changed. We don't care if you go to college. We don't care if you play for college.
Make us proud.
Yeah.
Right now.
Bring us a state championship. God bless Mojo. Yes.
The story will continue after this.
How many of those guys that you play with went on to be college stars or pro stars?
None. There's been very few college stars out of Permian.
To have a shot at a college scholarship, of course, you need to take the SAT test. Back then, Brian Chavez says, that wasn't always a priority.
The SATs were on Saturday morning, so we had, Saturday morning film session. They didn't want you missing that for your SAT test.
Brian Chavez found a way. He finished second in his class and was accepted at Harvard.
Really just stumbled upon going to Harvard in my senior year. Buzz talked me into applying, and I got in. When I get there, nobody's like me. Everybody went to private school. Everybody, knew they wanted to go to Harvard since they were in kindergarten.
After graduating from Harvard, he got his law degree at Texas Tech, then came back to Odessa to join his father's law firm.
Some people don't have that opportunity to see what I saw or have the opportunity to do what I did. They're just always stuck here. I know I had the opportunity to be somewhere else, and I chose to be here.
But life in Odessa has not been without its bumps.
You go to Harvard, you go to law school, and you end up with a mugshot. What happened?
It was the biggest mistake of my life.
Chavez had his law license suspended a few years ago after he got into a brawl and faced criminal charges.
Nobody would have cared except that you were Brian Chavez.
That had a lot to do with it.
Woo! Mojo, baby!
The Permian Panthers haven't had much mojo over the last 25 years.
Hit it! Hit it! Hit it!
Their last state championship came in 1991, just a year after Friday Night Lights was published.
Hands!
They found it hard to compete with schools from big cities like Dallas and Houston.
Right now, here's what we're going to do.
But Coach Blake Felton says he's setting up his players to win both on and off the field.
I would not have come here if I didn't think we could bring this program back to where it should be, to where the people expect it to be, and for us to win a state championship.
1, 2, 3, Mojo!
Brian Chavez has a nephew on this year's team.
Come on, Chavo!
And he plans to be at every game. Boobie Miles' son, James, is also playing high school football. He's a sophomore at Irving High near Dallas.
I heard he's quite good.
Yes, he is. And I want him to understand. I want him to know that his dad loves him with all his heart, but I want him to get that education. Get it, please get it. No matter what you do, get that education. Don't let them give you nothing. Don't let them push you through school. I don't want my son, I don't want my son to go through.
You worry about him?
Boobie Miles may yet get a chance to see his son play under the Friday night lights. James will be a senior in 2017. That's the year his dad is eligible for parole.